2 days ago, we told you about a 7.1 magnitude earthquake in Kumamoto, Japan. At the time, 13 people were confirmed dead. That number has now climbed to 30, with officials investigating whether 9 more deaths are connected. Here's the detail that makes this even harder to process. The shopping mall that partially collapsed had only reopened last month after being completely rebuilt following Kumamoto's devastating 2016 earthquake. It was supposed to be a symbol of recovery. Now it's a crime scene for rescue workers. And on top of everything, a heatwave is now punishing thousands of survivors living without power or water. Today, we're going back to Kumamoto for a real update on where things actually stand. No guessing, no dramatizing, just the facts, the science, and the real stakes. Drop a comment right now. What do you think is harder for a community, the disaster itself, or the recovery afterward? If you want to be the first to know every time something major happens geologically, subscribe to the channel right now. It is completely free. Hey, thumbs up also helps enormously. Let's go for 5,000 likes on this one so the algorithm actually shows it to the people who need to see it. Thank you. Now, let's get into it. Where the numbers stand now. When we covered this earthquake 2 days ago, Japanese officials had confirmed 13 deaths. As of Thursday, July 30th, Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi confirmed that number had risen to 30, according to reporting from the Financial Express and multiple international outlets. Kumamoto's prefectural government separately reported 25 deaths, formally confirmed as directly related to the disaster, with officials investigating 9 additional deaths in the prefecture to determine whether they were also caused by the earthquake. A distinction that reflects how disaster death tolls are often revised upward over the following days and weeks as investigators confirm causes of death that weren't immediately obvious in the initial chaos. At least 86 people were injured, 5 of them seriously. Rescue officials have been direct that time is running out to find any additional survivors, and the total number of people still missing remains unclear as search operations continue. Roughly 300,000 people were sent to evacuation centers in the immediate aftermath of Tuesday's magnitude 7.1 quake, and many remain displaced 2 full days later. In the hardest-hit town of Hikawa, more than 800 of the town's approximately 4,500 households were destroyed or damaged. Many residents there remain without water, electricity, or both. The mall that was supposed to be a symbol of recovery. Here's the detail from this earthquake that carries a weight beyond the raw casualty. Numbers. The Aeon Mall in Kashima Town, where a partial structural collapse and a subsequent gas explosion killed multiple people, had reopened to the public only on June 13th of this year, after being fully rebuilt following the catastrophic 2016 Kumamoto earthquake sequence that killed 273 people. According to reporting from Al Jazeera, that June reopening was specifically framed as a fresh start for one of the region's main shopping and entertainment centers. In the aftermath of the 2016 disaster, a supermarket inside that same mall had famously offered discounted rice balls to earthquake survivors, becoming a genuine symbol of the community's recovery effort at the time. Less than 7 weeks after reopening as a rebuilt monument to that recovery, the same physical location became the site of new deaths in a new earthquake. There's a difficult, honest lesson embedded in that detail, one that doesn't diminish anything Japan has done right in earthquake preparedness, but does complicate the tidy narrative. Rebuilding stronger after a disaster is genuinely important and necessary work, but it doesn't make a region immune to a future, unrelated seismic event striking the exact same ground again, Kumamoto's fault. Systems didn't become safer because the mall got rebuilt. They simply hadn't ruptured again yet. What compounded the damage? Beyond the mall collapse, this earthquake caused a range of infrastructure damage. Across the region, a factory chimney toppled at Nippon Paper Industries' paper mill. In the port city of Yatsushiro, houses were flattened. A train derailed at Yatsushiro in the initial quake, and Kyushu's bullet train and local rail services were suspended for safety inspections. As we covered in our original video, Kumamoto Castle's historic stone walls were damaged, and a tsunami advisory was briefly issued for the Ariake and Yatsushiro seas before being lifted within 2 hours once no significant wave activity materialized. Japan's self-defense forces have been deployed throughout the affected region, conducting water supply operations and assisting with rescue efforts with ground self-defense force personnel, bringing trolleys of fresh water directly to residents in hard-hit areas like Hikawa's town hall parking lot, where officials have also been distributing bottled water and packaged instant rice to displaced families. The heat wave makes everything worse. This is where 2 stories we've covered separately on this channel have now collided, in the worst possible way. Japan's ongoing officially declared heat disaster, the one we discussed in detail just days before this earthquake struck, is now directly compounding the human toll of this seismic disaster. Japan's Ministry of Environment issued a specific heat stroke alert for the Kumamoto area, as temperatures rose above 33 degrees Celsius, roughly 91 degrees Fahrenheit this Thursday. Exactly the kind of extreme heat conditions we explained can overwhelm the body's cooling systems and turn into a genuine medical emergency. For displaced residents already dealing with damaged or destroyed homes, this heat isn't a background inconvenience. Many residents in Ikawa are sleeping in their vehicles rather than staying at one of the 3 local evacuation centers, some out of a stated preference to stay near their damaged property, others reportedly uneasy about ongoing aftershocks and preferring the perceived control of their own car. One resident interviewed by international media, a 66-year-old man who came to collect water with his pet dog, explained he didn't want to sleep at home because the continuing aftershocks made him feel unsafe, but also didn't want to stay in a crowded evacuation center. That kind of impossible choice between an unsafe home and uncomfortable shelter or a hot, cramped vehicle is precisely the layered hardship that emerges once the initial rescue phase gives way to the much longer, much less visible recovery phase. A pattern we've discussed before when covering Venezuela's earthquake recovery a month after that disaster struck. Why this keeps happening. In Kumamoto, specifically, we explained in our original coverage that Kumamoto sits within a network of active fault systems tied to the boundary between the Philippine Sea Plate and the Eurasian Plate, a region with a well-documented, repeated history of damaging earthquakes, including the 2016 sequence and this new event just over 9 years later. What this update adds to that picture is a sobering reminder about disaster recovery timelines generally. 9 years is genuinely a long time in human terms, long enough to fully rebuild a shopping mall, restore a community's economy, and turn a disaster into a symbol of resilience. But 9 years is a vanishingly short span on the geological timescales that govern when a fault system builds up enough stress to rupture again. The same underlying tectonic conditions that produced 2016's disaster never went away just because the region recovered from it. What happens next? Rescue operations continue across Kumamoto Prefecture as of this reporting. Though officials have been candid, that time working against finding additional survivors is established immediately after Tuesday's quake, remains focused on restoring electricity and water access to the hardest hit communities, alongside continued self-defense force water distribution operations. The Ministry of Environment's heat stroke alert for the region remains a parallel active concern that emergency responders are managing simultaneously with earthquake recovery efforts, a genuinely difficult dual crisis for any relief operation to coordinate. Structural inspections of Kyushu's rail network and the damaged Aeon Mall site are expected to continue, and officials have not yet indicated a timeline for reopening the region's transportation infrastructure. Final thought. A death toll rising from 13 to 30 within 2 days reflects something we've discussed before on this channel. Initial disaster tallies are almost never the final word and the true. Human cost of a major earthquake often becomes clearer only in the days that follow, as investigators confirm additional cases and rescue efforts either succeed or run out of time. But the detail that will likely stay with people longer than any casualty number is that rebuilt mall, a physical monument to Kumamoto's recovery from 2016, standing for less than 2 months before this new earthquake struck the same ground again. It's a difficult, honest reminder that resilience and rebuilding, as genuinely important as they are, don't change the underlying geology beneath a community. They only change how well that community survives the next time it happens. Kumamoto now faces that test twice within a single decade. This time with an unrelenting heat wave making an already difficult recovery even harder for the thousands of families currently living without power, water, or a safe place to call home. We will keep tracking this story as rescue and recovery efforts continue, along with every other major seismic and volcanic event happening around the world right now. Subscribe so you don't miss the next update, and leave that comment below. What do you think is harder for a community, the disaster itself or the recovery afterward? 5,000 likes on this video. Let's go. See you in the next one.